Good morning, all of you. This is our fourth lecture for strength of material subject. In previous lecture, we studied there are the 13 numbers of mechanical properties of the materials. Such mechanical properties are also called as engineering properties of the materials. The materials used for the execution purpose, design purpose, etc. Then let we go to study the behavior of the material under the action of the load. To understanding the concept of behavior means elastic plastic as well as elastoplastic behavior. Here we only consider the behavior up to a certain limit, up to elastic limit. There is necessary to understand the various concepts like the stresses, strain, shear stresses, shear strain, types of strains, types of stresses, complementary stresses, Hooke's law, Young's modulus, shear modulus, etc. So let we start from the stresses and strain. Here I present the definition of the stress. Please see what is meant by the stress. The internal resistive force which resists the deformation per unit cross section area is known as stress. This is the simple definition. When a body gets or when a body is subjected to an external agency which is called as the force, then there is a occurrence of deformation. If the body is sufficient to resist such force, then such body resist or try to resist the deformation which is occurrence by that external agency. So there is a creation or the production of internal resistive force after the application of external force on that. So the definition indicates that the internal resistive force per unit cross section area is known as stress. So when we would like to carry out the magnitude of the stress is indicated by the name head or having the sign is known as sigma, and the sigma is equal to capital R divided by A. R divided by A, where R is nothing but the internal resistive force divided by the cross sectional area. We can get the magnitude in terms of intensity is known as the stress. Then how to calculate R? Let we have to find it. As we know, the magnitude of external force which is indicated as a capital P means, as we know, the magnitude of capital P is equal to 50 kilonewton and the cross section area is equal to 1000 mm square. Then how to calculate the internal resistive force? As we know the external magnitude of the external agency, but we don't know the magnitude of the internal resistance force. So let we see the next comment in the stress. The internal resistive force, which is denoted as a capital R, is equal to the external applied load, capital P, up to its elastic deformation. Up to its elastic deformation. So take capital R is equal to capital P up to the elastic limit of that body. So how to calculate the magnitude of the stress, how to calculate the stress quantity? Then take capital P, which is a known quantity, divided by the cross section area, which is also known quantity. By using these two known quantity, we can carry out the magnitude of the stresses, which is denoted by the sigma. This is nothing but the simple definition of the stress. But what is the exact behavior of R? Let we see here. Up to the elastic deformation, up to the elastic limit of the material, the magnitude of R is equal to the magnitude of the P. After that, the magnitude of R will get a reduced than the magnitude of external agency capital P from the plastic deformation up to the failure. Means if there is a creation, if there is occurrence of crack into the body of, into the subjected body, we can say, after that there is a formation of the cracking, the body does not sorry, the body does not resist in well manner. At that time, the magnitude of R get decreased with respect to the magnitude of capital P, because the magnitude of capital P is nothing but the external agency and having this which retains the same up to up to the failure of the body. So after the cracking, after the occurrence of the cracking into the body, there is a abruptly change or having the reduction into the magnitude of R, and it goes up to the zero. Sorry, it goes up, goes reduced from the plastic deformation up to the failure. So you should have to consider what is the I mean by the what is mean by capital R, what is mean by the capital A, what is mean by the capital P. So we should not consider the behavior of the material into the plastic deformation up to the failure one. So let we consider the elastic deformation. Let we consider the behavior of the material up to the elastic deformation. So up to the elastic deformation, the R is equal to P. So sigma is equal to P divided by A is the formula is valid for the same. Figure 1 indicate there are the three figures, figure 1A, B, C. In that we can see figure 1A is nothing but a one type of the bar which is subjected by capital P, pull away from the body, which are acting both way, leftward as well as the rightward side. When we cut the body, when we take a section, suppose XX section, take from point A to point B. Point A and point B are nothing but the beginning point as well as the end point of a bar. Between this point A and B, we can take a section, and when we take a section, we have to make cut at a section. When we take the cut at a particular section, please see the figure 1B as well as the 1C. In figure 1B, we can see that the rightward part of the section is cutted by that particular XX section, and instead of the capital P, there is the occurrence of capital R, internal resistive force. And this internal resistive force should be equal to capital P up to the elastic deformation. Such concept is also we can see when we cut the body of the when we cut the body the leftward side of the section, then how it can see. Let we see the figure number. Let we refer this figure number 1C. Here we can see the capital R is nothing but the internal resistive force is acted against the external applied force capital P, and these are nothing but there are then having the R should be considered as the nothing but in terms of intensity also. So when we consider the R in terms of intensity, so we have to carry out the original resistive force capital R in terms of Newton, kilonewton, meganewton, etc. divided by the cross section area of the body. The cross section area of the body we can take. There are the various types of the cross section. Figure number 2 gives the some example of the cross section. The first part of the figure number 2 is of having solid circular in nature. Second part of figure number 2 is having rectangular one. Third one is nothing but the square shape of the bar. So with respect to that cross section, we can carry out the cross section area for the circular pi by 4 d square, for the rectangular b into d, for square a into a, which is given into the figure number 2. Also we have to take the sign convention of the stresses. The sign convention of the stresses is similar like the line of action of the force, because force is a vector quantity, and with respect to that the nature of stresses will be depend on that. So take a positive nature for the tensile stresses. When the force is a tensile manner, then capital P is having the tensile nature. P divided by cross section area, we can get the sigma in terms of tensile nature. So take the positive sign for that, and vice versa for the compressive manner. So take negative for compressive stresses. When the force is acting towards the body, at that time such force is called as the compressive force, and with respect to that the stress which create is known as the compressive stresses. The unit of stress in terms of Newton per mm square, in terms of Newton per meter square, in terms of Newton kilonewton per meter square, Pascal, megapascal, gigapascal. So we should have to consider the Pascal is also unit. Pascal was the mathematician who innovated such unit. 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per meter square. So you should have to keep in your mind that 1 Pascal is equal to 1 Newton per mm square. So after completing the stress concept, let me go for the strain. The second concept is known as the strain. When a body get deformed, as we know that when a body is under the application of, when a body is subjected to under the application of external agency, which changes its shape and the size. So change in shape and size, let we consider in this concept. So let we see the concept as well as the definition of the strain. When a body get deformed, deform means changing shapes and size under the application of an external load, then the ratio of change in shape to original shape, the ratio of change in shape to original shape is known as strain. It is also known as, it is nothing but a simply measure, it is nothing but simply measurement of change in shape, which is known as the deformation. Means simply measure of deformation with respect to the original size is known as the strain. How much quantity the body get deflected, deform, retard, extend with respect to the original shape of the body, such a ratio is known as the strain. which is strain is nothing but indicated by the sign which is given in this PPT. This is nothing but having the triangular in nature. This shape is known as the delta, or the delta is shown by this letter. I here indicate to you that this sign indicate as a delta, or a triangular nature, a triangular form of figure, or nothing but we can say the indication indicates the delta sign. There are the two types of the strains. One is a longitudinal strain, another one is a lateral strain. When we consider the longitudinal strain, then the ratio of change in length oriented extension when we get measured with respect to the original body is known as the longitudinal strain. Means the ratio of change in length, whether the length is get decreased or increased with respect to the nature of force. When there is a extension, means there is a tensile force is occurs on that body. When there is a retard or having the decrease in the length of the body due to the compressive force acted on that body. So we have to consider the nature of the force. With respect to that nature, there is a creation of the stresses as well as the strain. So ratio of change in length to the original length is known as longitudinal strain. And it is denoted as a small e small l, EL. So EL is nothing but the notation used for the longitudinal strain. So mathematically EL is equal to change in length divided by the original length. We can get the EL as change in length in terms of meter, centimeter. Also, the original length is in terms of meter, or centimeter. So the and get cancelled, meter get cancelled, centimeter get cancelled. Length, change in length in terms of unit like the and original length is also considered as in terms of the is get cancelled. We can get the EL is a ratio of that. So the longitudinal as well as the lateral strain has no unit. Only take the sign convention. Take in consideration means take positive for tensile strain as well as the take negative sign for the compressive strain. So here we consider the longitudinal strain. After that we will see the lateral strain. Let we consider the lateral strain. This is nothing but the opposite concern of the linear strain. When there is a increase in the length of body, at that time there is a simultaneously decrease in the lateral dimension of that body. Suppose there is a 16 diameter of a bar will be take into consideration for the testing. At that time, if suppose 1 centimeter or the 10 is the extension of that 16 bar, at that time the bar should be possesses the decrease in lateral dimension. Means instead of we can get the diameter 16 we can get the diameter 15 14 13 with respect to the rate of extension along the length of that body. Means if there is a extension, there is a decrease in lateral dimension, and vice versa. Means if there is a retardation, decrease in the length of the body, there is increase in the diameter of that bar. So the lateral strain is nothing but the ratio of change in lateral dimension to the original lateral dimension. Change in lateral dimension divided by original lateral dimension is known as the lateral strain. It is denoted as a ET or ELAT lat or the ET. You can say this is the nothing but the notation used generally for lateral strain. The lateral dimension like capital B width, capital D depth or the small d diameter, you can say. So mathematically E lat or E lateral is equal to change in lateral dimension divided by original lateral dimension. Similarly, the linear strain, it is nothing but lateral strain has no unit. Please consider the sign convention of that. When longitudinal strain is a positive in nature, means there is a tensile longitudinal strain at that time, the lateral strain is a negative in manner, means there is the increasing or the extension of the bar, there is a decrease in the lateral dimension and the vice versa. Okay, the next point is a, let we consider the shear stress. As already we learned that what is meant by the stress, this what is meant by the shear force is nothing but the force which would like to cut the body or the try to cut the body, instead of the creating the compressive as well as the tensile pressure into that body, is known as the shear force. So let we see the shear stress. When a body cut or tends to cut, when a body tends to cut or the cut with respect to the surface, with respect to the surface by a force, or when two equal, opposite and parallel forces acting tangentially to the surface of the body, such a couple of the forces try to cut or the cut the body, such forces are called as the shear forces, and the stresses get developed to maintain the equilibrium of that body is known as the shear stresses. Okay, means the stresses will be get produced by the body to maintain the equilibrium condition of the body, to avoiding to resist the shear force, is known as the shear stresses. This is the simple fundamental concept of the shear stresses. It is denoted by tau. This is the indication used for the shear stress, is known as the tau, and it is also known as a small q. For understanding well the concept of the shear stress, let we see the figure number 5. There are the three parts in in the figure number 5: part 1, part 2 and part 3. There is nothing but having the lap between the plate number 1 and plate number 2. I indicate the two plates here, plate number 1 and plate number 2, and it get joined by using a rivet, and the plate number 1 subjected by axial force away from the body is known as capital P, and similarly the capital P is acted on the plate number 2 in figure 3. Sorry, the figure is categorized as the figure number 3, 4 and 5. So in lane, when we consider the figure number 3, there are the two P forces, means a single P force is acting towards right as well as the towards leftward side, means P is, this is a single P is an active force and another P is a reactive force, means a P is acting on a plate number 1 and plate number 2 at that time. To maintain the packing between the plate number 1 and plate number 2, we utilize the rivet system in the body to maintain the to pack the body in composite manner. We utilize the packing is known as the rivet system. So when there is a creation of the excessive amount of P, at that time there is a occurrence of cracks into the rivet. So I indicate into the figure, this is the nothing but the crack there is occurrence of the crack which cut the rivet or try to cut the rivet. So there is having only single plane where there are the chances of cutting of that rivet. So such type of the phenomena is called as the single shear. At that time, we have to consider the shear area means cutted area is equal to the cross section area of that rivet, not the plate. Here we have to consider the cross section area of the rivet as a shear area. Means P is acted in the form of active as well as the reactive force. At that time, there is a happening of cutting of the plane of the shear. So there is having the single cutting. So we have to consider the cross section area as a acted as a shear area. So how to calculate the shear area? A is equal to pi by 4 d square. We can get the shear area of that rivet. When we refer the figure number 4, there are the P is active in nature in right over side, and when we consider the left over side, the P is divided into the two parts with respect to the plate number 1 and plate number 3, and into the plate number 1, plate number 2, the capital P is acted capital P, and plate number 1 and plate number 3 are maintain the equilibrium condition of the body. The body is nothing but the composite body which is the forming by the plate number 1, plate number 2 and plate number 3. In that we will see there are the chances of cutting off the rivet into two numbers of the cross sections. Means there are the double cross section we have to consider as a shear area. So how to calculate the shear area? Area is equal to pi by 4 d square, means a cross section area of a single rivet into two times. Means a rivet get cutted at two location, so we have to take the two times as a shear area. At that time, we have to consider as a shear area is equal to the cross section area of free weight into two number. If there are the having the 3, 4, 5 times location of the shear of that rivet where there are the chances of the cutting of the rivet, then we have to take with respect to that concern number of shear location. So in figure 3 and 4, we consider the single shear as well as the double shear. Sorry, I write here single shear. It is not that single shear in figure number 4. It is a double shear. And in figure number 5, we can see there is a nothing but another one type of the shear which is known as the punching shear. When there is a having the metal sheet, and in that metal sheet we require to make the holes into the metal sheet for the riveting or the for bolting purpose. At that time, when the P is acted uh, perpendicular to the surface of the sheet, metal sheet, as shown in the figure number 5, at that time the P get resisted by this shaded portion. P get resisted by this this shaded portion. So we have to take the area of this shaded portion. So such shaded portion is resisted such type of the external acting force known as P. So there is a need to take the area of this shaded portion. How to carry out this area of this shaded portion? Take pi into d. Pi into d is nothing but the length of periphery, pi d, into t. We can get the shear area of that shaded portion. So at that time, P divided by shear area, we can get the shear stress. This is the simple fundamental concept we have to consider in these three figures. Next point is called as the complementary shear stress. When a shear stress is acted on a surface, means a stress, or there is having the occurrence of force which try to cut or the cut the body, which is known as the shear force. With respect to that, we have to consider the stresses which used utilized to maintain the equilibrium condition of that body to resist the shear force, which is known as the shear stresses. So let we go the complementary shear stress. When a shear stress is acted on the surface of the body, then the reactive stress will be active into the body, and such reactive stress which is perpendicular to the acted shear stress, such type of the stresses are called as the complementary shear stress. When we see this figure, suppose as I indicated here, this is nothing but a force having nothing but magnitude of the 10 kilonewton. So when it get acted on the face, vertical face, which is indicated in this figure, suppose P is acted like that, at that time another P is acted in opposite manner of the opposite side of that figure. If we will consider the left hand side of this rectangle, in that suppose this is the point A, this is the point B, this is the point C, this is the point D. So when a force is acted, when a P is acted along the face A to D, at that time another stress acted force is acted on the face A, B, C, D. So on the face BC, another active force which is having the same magnitude but having the opposite direction, it get acted. So there is a formation of the active couple. There is a creation of active couple acted on the face A to D as well as the B to C. So this is the active couple. When such active couple get acted on the body, there is a creation of the reactive couple which is denoted as a tau dash, as shown in this figure, to which get reacted, which get created and reacted to the active couple to resist the active couple. So such a reactive couple is known as the complementary shear stress. So please consider the concept again, that if there is action of reactive couple, the reactive stress are indicated as a tau, this tau as well as this tau. It may get acted as a clockwise manner. Then to react this acted couple to maintain the equilibrium condition of the body, there is a formation of another one couple which is called as a reactive couple, which is indicated by tau dash, acted anti-clockwise in manner to maintain the equilibrium condition of the body. So this is called as the concept of complementary shear stress. The next point is a shear strain. As there is a occurrence of shear stresses, so stress, how to calculate the stress? The load divided by concern area. If when we carry out the simple stresses, then take the axial force maybe having the compressive as well as the tensile in manner divided by cross section area, we can get the simple or the direct stress. When there is the occurrence of shear force divided by shear area, we can get the shear stresses. Like that, there is a another one concept known as the shear strain. Let we understand this shear strain by using this concern figure. The change in shape and size of the original body due to the acted shear force. As we learn, there is a occurrence of the shear force. This capital F is acted at point D towards the leftward side. So due to this, the face CD get converted or get deflected as a C dash to D dash. means plane CD get converted into C dash D dash plane. So there is a occurrence of angular deformation which is denoted as a phi, and such angular deformation get created at point A as well as B respectively as shown in the figure. So what is the definition of shear strain? The change in shape and size of original body due to acted shear force is known as shear strain. Then how to calculate the shear strain? By using the equation, the shear strain is indicated as a small e small s. So take change in shape with respect to the original body, means take the c distance c to c dash, take the distance divided by the original length c to d, mean change in dimension divided by original dimension. We can get not sorry, here we have to consider a to d, a to c, sorry, not the c to d, a to c. Okay, so change in length divided by original length, c to c dash is a change in length divided by original length. Sorry, I repeat again. How to calculate shear strain? ES is equal to C to C dash divided by CD. Change in length C to C dash or D to D dash take as a C to C dash as well as D to D dash as a change in length divided by original length C to D. We can get the ES. But in most of time we cannot consider the length of AB, length of CD, etc. because the body may be having the various types of the shapes available. So there is a there is a nothing but very difficult to take the dimension of CD originally. Practically, it is not possible. So instead of that, let we carry out the years by using the formula which is called as the right angle triangle formula, means take a tan phi, we can get the ES. Means what? Take a tan of this triangle, tan A, take tan A, it means opposite side divided by adjacent side, we can get the tan of phi at point A, means CC dash divided by AC, we can carry out this phi, or DD dash divided by BD, we can find out the phi, tan of phi. As the amount of tan is very negligible, we can say, or in having the less amount, so instead of taking the tan, we can take as a phi directly. So the ES is equal to phi, take it is directly, then we can get the shear strain as a nothing but the angular deformation. By measuring such angular deformation, we can carry out the shear strain. This is known as a shear strain. So yes, we can directly carry out by using taking the phi directly, we can get the amount of ES directly. But this phi is nothing but in terms of radian, in terms of radian. It does not consider the in terms of degree in nature. Radian has nothing but no units. So this is the shear strain concept. After that, we will see the Hooke's law. When a body loaded with an external force within its proportional limit, within its elastic limit, at that time there is a creation of stresses. Means if the force is P acting on a body and P divided by cross section area, we can get the amount of or quantity of the stresses, and such stresses get increased along the y-axis as shown in the figure. At that time there is a formation of the strain. Strain is nothing but change in dimension divided by original dimension. Generally here we consider as a linear strain, not the lateral one. So linear strain as well as the direct stress having the combination. Instead of that, we can we can take as a capital P force versus deflection curve as well as stress versus strain curve, we can say. So when we consider the force versus deflection curve or stress versus strain curve, then we understand the concept that the stress and strain possesses a linearity between these two concepts up to a limit. Such limit is called as the proportional limit, means stress is directly proportional to the strain. After that, when stress goes beyond that particular proportional limit, then there is a formation of the graph as shown in this figure. Means stress and there is no correlation present between the stress as well as the strain. But between from the point 0 point and up to a certain limit, there is the creation or having the certain relation between the stress and the strain. Means stress is directly proportional to the strain up to the proportional limit. We can see, we can understand by referring this figure. So when a body loaded with external force within its proportional limit, then there is a nothing but exact correlation between the stress as well as the strains. Means stress is directly proportional to the strain. Such law is known as the Hooke's law. Such law is called as the Hooke's law. Hooke's is nothing but was the mathematician who innovate this correlation between the stress and the strain. So mathematically, when we consider this sigma is directly proportional to this small e, then how to calculate the exact correlation between the sigma and the e? Yes, we can carry out the exact correlation between the sigma e and sigma and small e. So sigma is equal to take a constant into take a constant and make a multiplication with respect to that small e. You can get the exact correlation between the sigma and the small e. So there is nothing but the constant is equal to sigma divided by small e. You can get the constant of that body. So it is called as the Young's modulus, or the it is also called as the shear modulus. If this stress is the direct stress and this strain is a linear strain, then such constant is known as Young's modulus. If this stress is a shear stress, this strain is a shear strain, then such constant is called as the modulus of rigidity. So here we stop. In next lecture we will see the various correlation, and after that we will go for the sample examples, solving examples. So let we stop here. Thank you very much.